ring made him a bitch, but that still means he's a bitch, right? Lord of the Rings. Let me say this. You said all along that it needs to be thought as like a big 9-hour movie, right? Mm-hmm. It's like one big movie. Mm-hmm. And people were giving me all sorts of shit because I said the Two Towers is kind of like, it's fine. Like the first 2/3 of the Two Towers was like leading up to the final third. And the Two Towers was like the bridge between the first and the third act, right? And if you think of it like a 9-hour movie, that's exactly what you'd expect, right? You're not going to sit there for 9 hours and be like, I love every single second of this. This is the best movie ever, right? And I didn't. But if you look at it as a 9-hour like epic film, it's 100% like a 10 out of 10. It's perfect. It's perfect in that there are lulls in it. And the last third, the final, the Return of the King is so much fun. And it's when I say like an epic, that is what Lord of the Rings is. And people are like, oh, it's a walking simulator and blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of walking in it. But yes, but that's about the journey that goes on. And there's stories that are being told within the journey. And yeah, it's definitely like a top franchise of all time. Is it my top favorite franchise of all time? Nah, that's probably like Back to the Future because I have nostalgia attached to Back to the Future, right? I have nostalgia attached to Lord of the Rings. I didn't see it when it came out. I didn't see it in the theater. But just experiencing it now, it's coming off about as good as you could possibly come off seeing something 20 years late. And I love that. I saw it with 150 people watching at the same time over on Locals. I love that I saw the memes being popped in by Kratos El Kratos as they were happening and learning about what those memes were. It was really fun, like interactive experience. But there were several times where I just, I didn't even pay attention to the chat. It was just focusing on the movie because I wanted to treat it as much of the movie experience as possible. But the payoff was real. And that's the best thing that I can say about it was the, I was hoping that the final act was going to be spectacular. And the final act was so good that the Two Towers was elevated because of it. And it made the Two Towers better because the final act and the Return of the King was so spectacular.
What'd you think of Gollum getting his finger bitten off? That freaks me out every time. No, Frodo, I say. Frodo getting his finger bitten off by Gollum. It freaks me out every time.
If somebody wants to take a supercut of my reactions during it, I mean, go ahead, go crazy. Because I think I know I didn't jump out of my seat, but it was like, what? Oh my God. I did not expect that shit.
Dude, that every time, man. I was like, ah.
Yeah. Craig, if you make an edit of your reaction, throw it on YouTube.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think that would be it. Would maybe I will slice that up. I need to slice up the full 9 hours of my reactions.
I volunteer to edit, but I'm way too busy editing my own shit. So.
Chat's telling me spoilers. What do you mean spoilers? Listen, it's too late for you.
Were you cheering for Frodo to throw himself into the lava? Because that's what my wife thought had to happen.
Okay, there was
Frodo's got to die for the ring to get destroyed.
Yeah, there was some thought that was going to happen. And I think that was my favorite thing about it was I legitimately didn't know what was going to happen. And I've posted on X my thoughts on Lord of the Rings, and there have been some comments where like, I envy you. I envy that you get to experience it for the first time. Because now that I have watched it for the first time, I'll know what's going to happen, right? And being able to experience it and not knowing what was going to happen, not knowing if Frodo was going to jump in, not knowing if Sam was what was going to happen with Sam or whatever the plot point was, being able to experience that for the first time was really, really fun. So yeah, I loved it. I loved everything about it. I think it'd be fun to do that with other franchises that I missed, maybe Pirates or something like that. But I do think that Blabs, you're next. And I think it'd be really cool to do, a blind spot once
or bling, as you said this morning. I was like, what?
Bring it on.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I want to watch that one.
Right.
But for some reason, I keep getting confused with Step Up. And I have not seen that one either. And I was like, hang on, what's
the dancing movie?
Yeah.
Well, as Thomas says, the books are better, of course. Well, I don't know. Like I said, if I don't have time to watch 9 hours of a movie, I certainly don't have time to sit down and read a book, that's like that. But I hear it's great. I will say this. There were some things like I didn't quite that were not addressed that people say are addressed in the extended cut, which I look forward to watching the extended cut in theater as they were intended to be watched in June when they're released. I'll definitely make some time to go to the theater to watch those, and maybe I'll do it in the middle of the day after a show or something like that. But like Saruman, right? Like they're like, well, he's locked in the castle now and he can't come out, and there it is. And it's like, okay, that was kind of like odd, but I guess that's explained in the extended cut why he's locked in the
like
castle.
the Two Towers extended cut a lot more.
Okay.
Two Towers extended cut is
I haven't seen the non-extended in ages.
There's a lot of the things that I think would address your questions. So
yeah. It's good.
Who's your favorite member of the Fellowship, though, Craig? You got to answer that question.
Oh yeah. I like the elf man. Here's the thing. I'm not.
You
good
mean
with,
Orlando Bloom?
No, not Orlando Bloom. The other guy, the little elf, the guy with the beard.
Oh, Gimli.
Gimli, yes. So that's you're gonna
dwarf. God damn it!
You take offense to you calling him an elf.
People will, I know. People will notice this when I talk about movies. I am horrible with names and characters. It's always like this guy or that guy or whatever, or this, general, elf, orc, whatever. I'm really bad with names. If you were to put the entire cast of Lord of the Rings in front of me right now, I could probably name off 40% of them, right? I wouldn't be able to go down the list and tell you who. Like, I don't even know what the lead character's name was. The king. Like, what was the name? It was Boromir was who died, and what was the king's name?
Aragorn.
Okay.
Or Strider in Fellowship. That's his ranger name.
Strider's awesome. What a cool name. But yeah, there were a lot of memorable moments. I really enjoyed it. And like I said, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube once it's the first time watching it, and I'll never get that back.
All right, what's your favorite Hobbit?
Favorite Hobbit? I mean, Sam's the best.
I told you Sam was the MVP.
Yeah, and you hear that all the time. It's like, oh, what's the MVP? Sam's the MVP. It's like, well, yeah, he's not the MVP. He's the motherfucking MVP, right? Oh, yeah.
Everybody should strive to be like Sam.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, he has his wife and kids. It's like the best, like that. Mm-hmm. There were people in the chat who were like, I'm cutting onions right now as Sam and Frodo are like, there's this great joyous moment where Frodo wakes up and Sam walks in. They're like, yeah. And it's like, oh, the chat's like, I'm cutting onions. The only time that got me a bit emotional was at the end when Sam is greeted with his kids. And where his kid runs up, he's got his kids, his wife, and everything is great. Because at the end of the day, that's all people want. That's all I want. I just want a happy family, a healthy family, And I was like, yeah, way to go, Sam, you did it.
Champ.
Yeah, you're the fucking man, And that was the only time that really, really got to me. Because as pointed out, it was relatable.
But Merry and Pippin are great too, I have to say.
Yeah, I love Merry and Pippin. They get fleshed out more in the extended cuts too, so you probably missed some other.
They were great.
They were kind of bitches up until the final film, right? They were kind of annoying to me. But
what
the
most second breakfast.
I mean, yeah, it's cute. They have one-liners, but you knew they were just going to kind of be just kind of. They're obviously main side characters, right? But. Yeah, it was really, really fun. Frodo is the biggest bitch of them all.
Right. I don't like Frodo. I never did.
Yeah. And some people really love Frodo. Not me. He's he just happened to be the guy, just happened to be the guy who had to take the ring. And that's it. So
he's only a bitch because of the ring. He had to carry the ring so long, and the ring made him a bitch. I know. The ring made him a bitch, but that still means he's a bitch. Right? But with all that said, great experience. Would love to continue this whole blind spot idea of going back and looking at things for the first time. I think Lord of the Rings was a great first start, and we'll continue it there.